Hey everyone, welcome back. And the first college football breakdown of the year. It's upon us, week 0. Gotta love it. It's in the air. Let the dogs out this morning. Had my cup of coffee, reading the numbers, and seeing where the lines are moving as we get into the first week of college football. And you can definitely feel it in the air. And for all you former players out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But we'll get into the action. If you guys are new to TBM Sports, I am the Bettor Mark. Welcome to my channel, and make sure you all hit that like button. Please subscribe down below and join us, okay? We're going to be talking about the major Power 5 games. I do have a play outside of the games listed right here on Outlier as we run the entire board. So 3 official best bets to kick off the college football campaign. I also will give you guys my leans and indications for each of the games here on the card, and we'll get you guys going into your Saturday. So welcome back. It's one where we've been talking about it for a long time, and now it's finally here. So let's enjoy this, all right? To do so, though, we are going to use Outlier, like I said, and we will look into some of the numbers. We'll talk about the betting splits, the trends, and what we have going on. And this is a day where you have to kind of, I would say, reserve some discipline, okay? And this is going to be very important because, yes, it is the first week of college football. I know you guys have your balances all ready to roll. You guys are chomping at the bit. Trust me, I've been there, okay? But execute some discipline because we don't really know anything yet about these teams. And there's a lot of coaching situations, the way NIL is, and the transfer portal. It's very, very subjective at this point in the season. It's all speculative. These numbers have been out for quite some time, pretty much the whole summer. And we've seen some line movement. In specific, when we talk about the Hawaii game late night tonight, we're going to basically talk about that as a little bit as well, because it's really been one of the bigger movements that we have seen in the college football world. Okay, so let's get into that first game. And if you guys are not using Outlier, there is a link down below for a 7-day free trial. Multiple sports concurrently that are running together. Today we have baseball as well in action. So it's one where it saves you time, saves you money, and do not overpay for bets. Do not miss out on trends. Outlier is a great betting analytics platform that offers a lot of value for just a small nominal fee on a monthly basis. So check it out. Like I said, try it for 7 days, cancel anytime, no questions asked. Okay, Iowa State and Kansas State, let's get it going. That's the game we're going to be talking about. This game will be played in Dublin, Ireland. Okay, now as we look at this game, you have to kind of understand what we have going on within this. This is a game where we do return one of the best players in college football, undoubtedly, okay? Avery Johnson, and no, we're not talking about the basketball coach, but we are talking about a kid that can run the football, a Heisman candidate for most. And as we look at the Cyclones coming into this game with Matt Campbell, very familiar with him, a former Toledo Rocket head coach, coming out of Mountain Union as well. Great coaching legacy there for him in his campaign. 11-3 on the season last year for the Cyclones, albeit they did kind of falter late, as we did see that bid kind of upended. But as we talk about Iowa State here, the one key discrepancy I have with this number, and this is where they did lose a lot of talent there at the wide receiver position, okay? And as we look at this game, you got to kind of understand where the numbers are headed, okay? We have seen the Cyclones take some money. This number was at 4 for the better part of the season. And as we talk about it, I don't quite frankly know why, all right? I don't agree with the number. If you do have a jurisdiction where you're located at and you can bet college football props, one of the things I will recommend, and I will usher some caution, is the fact that the rushing props for quarterbacks, for running backs, what have you, they are subject to sacks. Please keep that in mind, all right? So Avery Johnson running the football, I think he gets over his prop as we look at this. I will kind of pull this up for you guys so you can see it. And where I'm at, I can bet it in a place very far away, but where I have to go kind of across the border to get involved with this. But as we look at the rushing yards for Avery Johnson, and I'm going to pull it up here so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Okay, this is where you can find now 53.5 at -114. That's going to be the best number available unless you want to just say call it an even 50 at -136. That's a lot of juice delay, but if you did kind of want to get involved, looking at his last 10 games from last season, he's hit this proposition in 60% of the games. And you're going to ask yourself, well, why does he have 18 and 21 against the likes of Houston and Arizona State? Well, sacks come into play, okay? So that's kind of what you have to look at when you talk about the quarterback rushing yards. And if he does have his way. I do think the one thing about Iowa State that would lend towards the argument to be made for Kansas State is very porous in the rushing defense category, okay, which is very unlikely and uncharacteristic of a Matt Campbell-led squad. It just is what it is, and they've made a lot of adjustments to address some of those concerns, bringing guys in. But the one thing about this game is I think he will get his, okay, and they're going to allow him to do so, and I think Avery Johnson does go over this rushing prop. Give him 50 yards, okay, on the ground, minus 136. That's a very strong lean. Probably, in my opinion, one of the best ways to approach this game. I do think that the one thing about the games played in Ireland is running the football does take place, okay? You want to establish the ground game, let the quarterback settle in early on in the season. I think that's where Kansas State is going to lend towards, and I think he's good to pop one off, okay? So I do think that's going to happen. The one thing I will tell you guys, though, is I think this is just way too many points, and that's kind of my indication for this first game. You can see the betting splits as 52% of the money is on the Cyclones, as well as 64% of the money is on the spread of the Cyclones, as we have seen that number tick down from 4 to 3.5. This is where I look for a live game, in-game opportunity as well. But the Cyclones, if you can find at 3.5 still in the market at minus 110, that's what I ended up taking. The best number available right now is on FanDuel at minus 118 at 3.5. I do think this is a game where we could see a 3 pop in the market. But I'm on the Cyclones pre-flop, okay? And if you do want to wait in-game, say Kansas State gets the ball first, they go down, kick a field goal, they score, what have you, that is something where I look to bounce back on the Cyclones, maybe even get a 4 or a 5, 5.5 if they do end up scoring. So Iowa State is my first official play of the college football season. It's one where I said I do like the Avery Johnson rushing prop as well, but I'm firmly on the Cyclones. I think that this is from a betting perspective, right? Kansas State could win this game outright, all right? But if you're going to give me a field goal, I think that's the value. It's a better option than just taking Kansas State on the money line. Never going to lay minus 160. Never going to take a 3.5 at the number that we're getting presented to us currently. So I'll take the field goal and the hook here. Give me Iowa State plus 3.5 as the first official play. Next game is Fresno State in Kansas. Now, this is another game that does kind of jump off at the page at me. When we talk about this, this is a strong lean as well, but not enough to make me officially bet it. I do like the side of Fresno State plus 14, okay? Give me 2 touchdowns, taking the Bulldogs in this game. The one thing about them is as we look into kind of where they're coming from, okay, Jalen Daniels returns, but they are replacing a lot on offense. We know about that high-powered offense. We know about what Jalen Daniels was able to do in the back end of the 2024 season. And looking at kind of what we have within Fresno State, they bring in a head coach from North Dakota State, great pedigree, and great dynasty that they had up in North Dakota State. All of the NFL pros that have come out of that program, call it what you want, but it is still a dynasty on that level. And as we look at kind of what he's looking to do for Fresno State, that's kind of where I think this is where it's a very question mark kind of game. This is a game where I think you could look at it tomorrow and look back at this number and say, wow, I wish I would have bet Fresno State plus 14, or you would have said Kansas was the play all the way. They end up winning with margin, with ease. But the sharper side is definitely on the side of Fresno State. Taking that 14 points, if you can find it, is juiced up a little bit. And as we talk about it, I just want to see what Kansas is all about. If they start slow, maybe they're turnover prone going against a defensive-minded coach. And I do think that Fresno is going to be able to move the football as well. And this is essentially going to be a completely new team for the Bulldogs as they get into this season. But Fresno State plus 14, that's where the value is. If you look at Fresno, despite this new turnover, they did cover 90% of their last 10 games. Okay, so dating back to last season, the Bulldogs stay hot. Lean towards the plus 14, not an official play. The one other bet in this game that I do like is if we were going to dive into Kansas, you could look at the Jayhawks, and I would kind of explore this angle here. And you could parlay this with another team out there, but I do think that if you look at Kansas to score 29.5, I think they do get 30 in this game at minus 165. You could put that together with another team that you do expect some offensive efficiency with, and that's where you could end up getting a very good number, plus money price if you do take a 2-leg team total parlay to kind of kick off this Saturday. All right, but no official play. Sam Houston and Western Kentucky. This is kind of where you look at the Hilltoppers and what they were able to do last year. 8-6 on the season. Sam Houston had a very strong campaign. And I don't really understand why they're getting this many points. Okay, so this is another game where I would want to take the points. I know about the offensive attack for Western Kentucky. For me, guys, though, Sam Houston plus 10.5, if you can find it. That's where I would lean. No official play, but I just think that's way too many points if we do want to call the number here at pre-flop. If Western Kentucky rolls here, it's going to be a absolute blowout and bloodbath. So that is the argument to be made for Western Kentucky minus 10. This is a no play for me as well. Okay, and then we are going to shift gears a little bit. We'll go to DraftKings here because this is a game that I want to talk about. This is where we're going to look at Idaho State and UNLV. Okay, so you can see it here. It's kind of hard to see, but I will pull it up. Right now, you can find on DraftKings 30.5. I'm going to lay it, and this is a number that has moved quite a bit. You could have found UNLV a lot cheaper, and I know it's the worst of it. They were down in that 24, 25 point category a little bit earlier, but this has seen a lot of line movement. And as we talk about the Running Rebels here, we're not talking basketball, but I do think that if you can find the 29.5 like I did, that's what I'm going to lay with UNLV. I think they run rampant on Idaho State. And as we look at kind of the new regime here, Dan Mullen comes into town. He's going to want to run the football. He's resuming his coaching career, and I think this is something where I don't think Idaho State can compete with the Running Rebels, and I think they're really going to try to get off to a hot start and run the football down the throat of Idaho State. So give me the UNLV Rebels as we do want to take them. I took them minus 29.5, and you can find that number available, and I did have to use another platform for that, and that's where I took the UNLV team. We can take them here, and I will show you guys the book that does offer this, and this is where you can find the 29.5. Pretty much the only place available I could find that was at Hard Rock, and if you can bet on Hard Rock, minus 110 is that number. That is my best bet, my second official play. UNLV minus 29.5, minus 110. Okay. Back into it, we'll talk about the next game on the docket, and this is where we're going to look into the likes of Stanford and Hawaii. Okay, so this will be the late night game. 7:30 is that kickoff, and Timmy Chang looking to kind of pick up where the Rainbow Warriors left off. It was a 5-7 season last year. The Cardinal comes into town with Frank Reich, another high profile coach that did see kind of a resumption of his career in Stanford. We know about his history running with Andrew Luck, and looking for a familiar hire there to kind of rejuvenate and bring some life back into Stanford's program. 3-9 on the season last season, and there was talk about Stanford not even having a college football program, but that was some Pac-12 nonsense, and very, very kind of hard thing to talk about and stomach because of the kind of the, I guess you would say, the track record, the history behind how that program. It's a very, very prominent name across the board. We look at some of the big names that come out of Stanford, but we're not going to get that today, okay? And this is a line that has seen a lot of movement. The Rainbow Warriors, I think, were 3 or 4 point underdogs to open this number, and now we're seeing them as high as 3.5 out there in the market. We have seen some Stanford buyback as that number has went from 3 to 2.5, but I'm going to trust Timmy Chang and the Rainbow Warriors. It's not that big of a travel spot for Stanford that we do see with some clubs that have to come over from the East Coast to Midwest and they go play in Hawaii. It doesn't happen too often, but it does present itself as a challenge for 18 to 21-year-olds to make that move with some travel. But I think this is where we're going to just take Hawaii on the money line. We're not going to worry about the points, okay? This is something where I think if it is close, Stanford may end up losing by 3. The 2.5, I respect it. I don't want to get involved with that line movement, and I wish I would have got this one earlier where we could have took some points with Hawaii. But Hawaii minus 130 there on FanDuel. That's the bet that I'm going to get into. It is the trendy pick of the day, if you will, as we have seen a lot of line movement. But Hawaii minus 130 on the money line, that is where we look at this rebuild and kind of what I'm going to get into. I just don't think that Stanford can get enough done in week 1, okay? And that's kind of the handicap. I do think that the under is firmly in play as well. You can see 84% of the handle is on the under, albeit only 57% of the bets. So that is a betting split that does back up the under. 61 you can find out there in the market. Actually, 51 you can find out there in the market. 50.5 is the current number for the Stanford Hawaii under. So my lean in the game would be under, but the best bet that I will give out in my third official play, that will be the likes of the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. We're going to lay them on the money line at -130. Okay, so appreciate you guys all tuning in. Those are my best bets for week 0. We'll talk about that as we get into the Saturday, but just a quick recap for you guys out there. We're going to be laying the Hawaii money line at -130. Give me Iowa State +3.5 at -115, and UNLV -29.5 at -110. Only available on Hard Rock, so make sure you shop around, find the best number available. Don't get burnt. That's why we use Outlier. That's why we use Odds Jam. Every other book in the world is offering 30.5 for UNLV, and you can find it right there in Hard Rock, still at 29.5, and that will be my best bet for that contest. Okay, so appreciate it, guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below. Good luck out there. Enjoy it, and we'll see you guys all tomorrow in the next video. Cheers.